host for the evening today. For a quick introduction, Xyla Health is India's most loved health management platform that is serving 1.5 lakh plus patients in 5 plus cities and happens to be the highest rated with a 4.8 plus rating and delivers 24/7 care. We have been helping patients with multiple health conditions such as COVID, diabetes, heart issues, kidney health issues, and women's health issues through a very able and experienced medical team that is in-house at Xyla for the highest quality care. So today's webinar is with a very senior doctor, a nephrologist. Yeah, requesting everyone to please be on mute for time being. Yeah. So today's webinar is with a very senior nephrologist, Dr. Anupam Roy, who has more than 21 plus years of experience in this field and has also served at Sir Gangaram Hospital earlier. Welcome, Dr. Anupam. We are very delighted to have you amongst us today. Thank you so much. Today, we would be covering the topic how to reduce creatinine and uric acid for healthy kidneys. We'll discuss about all the things that we have to take care of from our senior nephrologist. Meanwhile, if you have any questions in between, you can share in the chat box. We'll take up your question towards the end of the session. So any questions are welcome related to today's webinar. And over to you, Doctor, now. I'll just give you the access to unmute. Yeah.
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. So today we will discuss about the creatinine and uric acid, how they function, what are their role in the body, and what we can do to, keep them under control. So let's start off with uric acid. Uric acid is a product of purine metabolism. So what are purines? Purines are basically the building blocks for our RNAs and DNAs. And in fact, all the cells, they require a balanced amount of purines to be able to proliferate and grow. So purine metabolism leads to the formation of uric acid. The problem in humans is that this uric acid is an insoluble product, and that is why it causes a lot of problems for us. In humans, actually, we don't have the enzyme uricase, and therefore the metabolism stops at this level of uric acid. Whereas in lower animals, it leads to the formation of allantoin, which is a soluble product and can be excreted easily. Most of the uric acid which is in the body is more than 2/3 of it is produced endogenously, whereas 1/3 of it is contributed by the diet that we take. And regarding the excretion, more than 70% of this uric acid is excreted by the kidneys, while the rest is excreted by the intestines. So as a corollary, if there is any problem with kidney function, it can affect the excretion of uric acids and lead to a buildup of uric acid in the body. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. So coming to the levels of uric acid, it is important to understand that the uric acid levels is basically a balance between the amount that is produced and the amount that is removed from the body. So the normal upper limit of normals in males is around 7 milligrams, whereas in females it is around 6 milligrams per DL. This can vary a little bit from lab to lab, but generally this is the upper limit. So nowadays, the worldwide prevalence of high uric acid is increasing, mostly because of the lifestyle disorders. There is an increase in the incidence of obesity, there is an increase in alcohol intake, and there is a lot of diet that we take, which is rich with sucrose sweetened, foods. So that is the reason for high uric acid prevalence in these days. Next slide, please. So if we come to look at the levels of high uric acid, like I said, there are two reasons. One, there is a decreased removal from the body, or second, there is an increased production from the body. And then there are certain mechanisms where it is maybe a combined effect. So if you look at the reasons for increased production, it can be certain genetic disorders. It can be because of the diet that we take. It can be because of certain malignancies like leukemias, lymphomas, or myelomas. The reasons for reduced excretion can again be certain genetic disorders. It can also be because of certain, diseases of the kidney. It can be because of certain diseases like hypothyroidism or hyperparathyroidism. Then in combined, if you look at, combined mechanisms, we have alcohol intake, which can cause combined both an increased production as well as reduced excretion. Similarly, sucrose, fructose, sorry, my mistake, fructose sweetened foods like soft drinks, beverages, all these things can also cause an increase in the production of uric acid as well as a reduced excretion. Similarly, very intense exercise can also cause an increase in production of uric acid and a reduction in the excretion of because of some mild dehydration which occurs simultaneously. So what are the problems we can face if somebody has a high uric acid level? So this uric acid can get deposited. If it gets deposited in the joints, it can cause arthritis. If it gets deposited in the kidneys, it will form kidney stones. Then it can also cause chronic kidney insufficiency. Next slide, please. So what happens if we don't treat the high uric acid level? Like I said, it will get deposited somewhere and it will cause damage to wherever it gets deposited. If it gets deposited in the kidneys, it can cause stones and all subsequent problems. If it gets deposited in the joints, it can cause inflammation, swelling of the joints, it can cause deformities of the joints, and so on and so forth. Next slide, please. So how do we manage? So management, the prime management is lifestyle modifications, like as we, so the diet becomes important. We'll come to that. The, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, reduction of alcohol intake, reduction of, plenty of water, plenty of fluid intake is very important. And diet, if we come to diet, then there are high purine diets is what we need to avoid. Now purine is present in this meats, poultries, fish like sardines, tuna, etc. Then like I said, fructose sweetened foods like the soft drinks and beverages. Sorry. So, and we have to increase the amount of fluid that we take. The amount of alcohol that we take should be reduced. It has to be cut drastically. So how do we supplement the protein? It is important to understand that dairy products can be easily taken and the proteins can be supplemented from eggs and cheese. So exercise is very important to maintain a healthy weight, and in certain cases, depending on the condition of the patient, certain drugs may be used to lower the uric acid levels. Now, choice of drugs will depend on the presenting complaints as well as the involvement that we have. So, based on that, certain drugs can be used to reduce the uric acid levels. Next slide, please. So next comes the most important part, which what is creatinine? So creatinine, it is a breakdown product of creatine. Now this creatine comes from the muscles. When there is a day-to-day wear and tear of the muscles, they lead to production of creatine, which subsequently gets metabolized to creatine. This creatinine is a very small molecule and it can easily be excreted from the kidneys. So if we look at it the other way, if there is any problem with the kidney function, there will be a rise in the level of creatinine. So the normal levels for creatinine is about 0.6 to 1.1 or 1.2. That varies slightly from lab to lab. But so if you can see that it's a very small, minuscule level that it is there. It's only 0.6 milligrams per DL. So if there is any change in this level, it can cause, it will reflect kidney dysfunction. And creatinine, and so creatinine alone is not important. What we use the creatinine is to calculate something known as the GFR. This is known as an estimated GFR. The full form for GFR being glomerular filtration rate. And we use this glomerular filtration rate as an estimate of the kidney function. Normal glomerular filtration rate can be around 90 to 120 ml per minute per 1.73 meter square body surface area. And this creatinine, along with certain other variables like the age, the gender, the race of the patient, and certain other blood reports can be used to calculate the GFR. There are many formulas available online. One of them, for example, the MDRD formula is pretty much in use. The CKD EPI formula is there. The Cockcroft-Gault formula is there. And in children, there are certain other formulas like the Schwartz formula, etc. So if the GFR, if based on the creatinine calculations, the GFR is reduced, then it indicates that there is some problem with the kidney function. Next slide, please. So here we would like to bring you an example of how creatinine and GFR can affect. So if we see this here, we have three case scenarios. One is a young male, he's a black gentleman. There is a middle-aged male, white male, and an elderly white female. Though the creatinine value is same for all the three, but based on the MDRD formula, you can see that the GFR is different for all three. In fact, it is, as expected, much less for the elderly lady. So that is the importance of estimating the GFR. We just cannot go based on the creatinine value. That creatinine value has to be taken in the complete picture of the GFR. Next slide, please. And based on this GFR, we can classify the stage of the kidney disease. We can have, stage 1 and stage 2, where the GFR may be, stage 1 is more than 90, stage 2 is 60 to 90, stage 3 is less than 60. This stage 3 is the stage where the complications start to appear. And this is the time when we need to be particularly careful about how the kidneys are functioning and what can be done to manage the kidney dysfunction. So you would say that more than 90 is still having CKD, this is that group of patients who have some additional structural or functional damage to the kidneys, which can be evident by other markers, and then they would be classified as CKD stage 1. But you can see as we progress from CKD stage 2 onwards, CKD stage 3 has been classified as 3A and 3B, wherein the GFR can be 45 to 60 mils or 30 to 45 mils. And then stage 4 is when it is between 15 to 30 mils. And stage 5, also known as end stage renal disease, where the GFR is less than 15 mils. This classification will help us in assessing the severity of the disease as well as planning the therapy for the patient. And based on the disease stage and the complications, we can plan the therapy for the particular patient. Next slide, please. So what are the causes for a high creatinine level, or we can call it what are the causes for chronic kidney disease? The commonest causes are diabetes and hypertension. The key word here is uncontrolled diabetes and hypertension and long-standing diabetes and hypertension. In addition, there can be some inflammation in the kidneys, that is glomerulonephritis. There may be infections in the kidneys. There may be stone disease. There can be certain genetic disorders like polycystic kidney disease. There can be, other factors like excess painkiller intake or dehydration, which can also cause a rise in the creatinine levels. Next slide, please. What are the symptoms of chronic kidney disease, or in other words, high creatinine level? The symptoms may be, the problem with the symptoms is they are all very non-specific. There is no specific symptom for kidney disease, and the symptoms can be very delayed in their presentation. The symptoms patients can present with swelling of the legs, they can present with reduced urine output, they can present with breathlessness. Patients may come in with altered color of the urine. They can come in with reduced appetite, disturbed sleep pattern, etc. The thing is that screening is very important in this group of patients, especially those with a high risk family history or those having long-standing diabetes. Screening would be a more important or a more effective method rather than just waiting for symptoms to appear, because like I said, symptoms are not only non-specific, they are also very delayed. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So what happens if a high creatinine is left untreated? Any disease, if it is left untreated, will lead to a lot of complications. Chronic kidney disease, if we do not take the corrective measures in time, then it will lead to from progression from stage 3 to stage 3A, 3B to 3A, and subsequently to stage 4, or maybe even up to stage 5, that is known as end-stage renal disease. And if somebody is in stage 5, then the only options available are either dialysis or transplant. So it is better to start treatment, initiate treatment as early as possible. Any intervention, the earlier it is, the better it is. There can be other complications like uncontrolled blood pressure. There may be mineral bone disease. There may be chronic anemia. There may be, loss of weight, and a lot of other uremic complications can present, at later stages of the kidney disease. Next slide, please. So how to control, So control, here it is important to understand that it is better to treat the underlying cause for the rise in creatinine rather than just, try to reduce the creatinine. So it is better to control the diabetes, the hypertension. So lifestyle modifications, we start with that. Dietary restrictions of salt, dietary, diabetic diet, then avoidance of painkillers, over-the-counter drugs, and certain other nephrotoxic drugs, which your doctor will be able to tell you, will be very important. Then exercise, maintaining a healthy weight, and diets, avoidance of smoking cessation is very important if somebody is a smoker. All these things come under lifestyle modification. Next is the drugs. Drugs can be mostly for the control of diabetes and blood pressure. So whatever drugs there are, we can take those drugs. As regards to the fluid, the most important question that comes up always is how much water to drink. So it depends on what kind of a disease you have. There are certain diseases where your doctor may ask you to drink plenty of water. There will be other diseases where the doctor will have to restrict the amount of water that you are allowed. So that is an individual judgment has to be taken on a case-to-case basis. Next is how much protein we can take. So if you are taking a vegetarian diet, pretty much you can take, the recommendation is about 0.8 grams per kg body weight per day is the amount of protein that can be allowed for you to take. So now that again has to be individualized as per your diet, dietary habits, as your weight, and all other factors. So that is about the diet. Obviously no alcohol and no smoking, and that's about it. Next slide, please. So the tip of the day, if we come to the tip of the day, it would be important to understand that screening for kidney disease is the most important thing that we can do. The screening would be the most important thing that we can do for our patients. Then just for screening, there are two simple tests. One is the serum creatinine that has to be done, and the estimated GFR has to be taken out of that serum creatinine. And the second is that we do a urine protein. To presence or absence of protein is the next most important indicator for kidney disease. Next is we have to keep good control of the blood sugar and blood pressure levels, and lifestyle modifications, as I've already tried to highlight, is the diet, the exercise, no smoking, and adequate fluid intake. And the other most important thing is avoidance of over-the-counter drugs for anything, especially if you have some derangement of kidney function, you should avoid over-the-counter drugs at all costs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, doctor, for explaining us in detail about uric acid, creatinine, their management, symptoms, right from the time someone is diagnosed, what all precautions they have to take, what all in diet they have to manage. Thank you so much, doctor, for explaining us. For everyone out here, Xyla has a kidney care program as well that is run under our expert medical panel, under which we also have Dr. Anupam as our senior nephrologist. This is the most effective kidney health program. I'll just walk you all through what it all covers. We work on a triple combination approach for patients dealing with chronic kidney disease, as we all just learned about the stages of the chronic kidney disease. So by adapting following changes, wherein we know that this is a holistic approach, lifestyle changes are needed. So by following all these approaches, we can definitely take care or manage better the kidney diseases. This covers the medicine prescription and the guidance under senior nephrologist, the timely guidance and regular review of your health status and to guide you further. Then we also have nutritionists in our team who plan proper protein, fluid and fat intake that is needed in if you are going through or if you have a kidney disease. Then we also have easy to follow exercises without any equipments, live yoga sessions that you can do to ultimately, have a better lifestyle approach. Some home remedies and stress and anxiety management, because we understand that with every disease, there comes a part of stress and anxiety with it. So to deal with all this, we have a triple combination approach wherein we try to manage your health through diet, medicines, and exercises as needed. And this has been really impressive for our patients as well, because they have been able to take care of their kidney health disorders. So thank you so much, Dr. Anupam, for explaining us in detail about all these things. So if any one of you have any questions, I'll start taking up your questions that we have received in the chat. But if you have any questions related to the program that we have just discussed, or if you want some more things to learn about, I'm just sharing a link in the chat box section. You can all share your details there. Our team will reach out to you. And this would be really great if we can help you in any way in managing your health issues better. So just give me 1 minute and I'll share the link in the chat box so that you can all share your details there. Now we'll take up your questions. So I hope everyone was able to understand what we discussed today, and it was good to clear all your doubts. So the link form has been shared. You can share your details, the type of query that you have, and our team will reach out to you. Okay, so Dr. Anupam, I'll take a few questions that we have from the audience now.
Sure.
So also, Dr. Anupam, before we started this, we also had a quiz question for everyone where we asked people what is uric acid, and we were so amazed to see the responses that they all had. I hope you all now have the clarity of what exactly is uric acid and creatinine. So, Dr. Anupam, one question is, how can one reduce creatinine in polycystic kidney, especially in stage 5?
See, polycystic kidney disease is a genetic disease, it because of certain genetic factors. So it is better not to wait till stage 5. It is better to start treatment early. If you have already have a family history of polycystic disease, it is better that you start preventive measures early on. And the most important preventive measure for a patient with polycystic kidney disease is to drink plenty of water. That is one therapy which has been shown to delay the progression of polycystic kidney disease. And the second most important intervention is control of blood pressure in this group of patients. All the other precautions are also very important, but if you want two points which need to be stressed on, so they are: one, to drink plenty of water, and second is good control of blood pressures.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anupam. The next question is, Doctor, as we discussed about regular screening of the parameters. So yearly once checking for creatinine, is it okay for a type 2 diabetic patient aged, let's suppose 60 plus?
So, it has to be individualized. It depends on the duration of the diabetes that the patient is having, and also the degree of control that the patient is having. Let us assume that the patient has been recently diagnosed with diabetes and the degree of control is also fairly good. In that case, an annual checkup with serum creatinine and a urine for albumin. Both these points are very important. Creatinine will help us.
Yes, Doctor, I think you have got muted. Could you please? Could you please?
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah. So, both the creatinine and the urine for protein annually is very important.
Sure. Doctor, there is one question that any tips for IgA nephropathy in terms of nephropathy?
See, IgA nephropathy is a whole ball game, different ball game. We are not, it would be deviating from the main topic, but IgA nephropathy, again, we need to see depending on the degree of proteinuria and the degree of, what is the creatinine like. Based on that, the treatment has to be individualized. If a patient is having minimal proteinuria, the treatment would be different. Whereas if the patient is having high proteinuria, the level treatment would be different.
Doctor, there is one question related to milk intake. I'm not sure if you should take this up, but in your practice, or has milk intake increased the creatinine level or any dairy products?
No, not exactly. Very difficult for me to comment on that, but milk directly should not increase the creatinine values,
So as you mentioned, doctor, there is, a proper segregation of how much protein is to be given. So all that nutritionist decides based on the stage of the kidney disease, right?
Yes,
Wherein
yes.
on the symptoms. Yeah.
So we work with a team of nutritionists to, design a customized diet plan for every patient, because obviously everybody has a different diet pattern and dietary requirements. So it has to be, customized, and we have a good team of nutritionists with us, both at Xyla and otherwise, so who, help us titrate the diet for the patient.
So doctor, since you have been practicing for so many years, just wanted to highlight, like in your practice, have you, came across any such experience where people, you might have come, but if you wanted to share any such experience where, patients have taken right step at the right time and that has led to, less progression of the disease. So any
Yeah,
such
we
experience?
have. Yeah, we have so many people. You mentioned polycystic kidney disease. We have so many patients with us who, came to us at the right time because they had somebody in the family who was recently diagnosed with polycystic kidney disease, and a screening program was run for the entire family. And we did pick up a couple of patients, and they have been, doing well. Touch wood. We have been able to, delay the progression of kidney disease in those group of patients. There are other patients, those with stone disease. If they come to us in time, we have been able to manage the stone problem as well as prevent, kidney progression of the kidney disease. So there are so many examples which we see day in and day out, but the key remains early diagnosis and, a good teamwork where the patient and our team work together towards a common goal of achieving, the delay of the progression of the kidney disease.
Absolutely, doctor. So as you mentioned that regular screening and keeping a check on the symptoms is really important. So even if
Yeah.
so in it also gets so much important if you have diabetes as well, so that keeping a check on your symptoms and regularly getting your parameters done, the lab test done. This is the reason why doctors advise you to get the lab test done on timely basis, so that they can keep a check on it, on your parameters, and take timely action.
Yeah, if any problem can be detected the earliest, like we said, the GFR, the earlier the better it is.
Uh, so doctor, we are getting so many, so everyone, we are getting so many questions on diet, but that would be great if we can keep it up to the nutritionist, because yes, in terms of diet, a trained nutritionist also works in designing all that. We discussed today about its importance as well, but yes, Dr. Anupam guided us about the symptoms, what it is exactly and how to manage it. I understand that we are getting so many on the point questions that if someone is having a creatinine level of this much, if they can take pulses or not. So we'll not take up those questions, but yes, you can share those in the form below that I have just shared, and our team will reach out to you for the answers or any type of query that you have. So, doctor, that was really helpful to understand the reason, to understand the mechanism behind the kidney disorders. Before we end today's session webinar, anything you want everyone to focus upon?
The message remains the same. We take good care of ourselves, our diabetes and blood pressure, and we screen regularly for any complications arising out of these, diseases. Can be the kidney, can be the eyes, can be the heart. But yes, kidneys are very important, and the screening for kidney disease is very easy. We just have to do a blood test and a urine test, and they can be, we can be sure that whether we have any kidney disease or not. So such an easy method is there. We just should, be aware that it is possible to detect kidney disease at an early stage, and the, age-old this thing that earlier the better. Prevention is better than cure. The adage comes true even for kidney diseases.
Yeah. Thank you so much, doctor, for explaining us in
Right.
detail and
Thank you.
answering all our questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Please take good care, and you can reach out to us in the form below as shared if you have any questions. And we'll keep doing more such educative and informative webinars for everyone. So please stay tuned. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.